Hello everyone, this is Krotek giving you Game 3 in a series between Acer's Elfi versus Imba's Strelok here on Terminus Ray. Strelok spawning as the blue Terran player, meanwhile Elfi spawning as the red Protoss, and we'll see how this game goes. Now, so far Elfi has been dominating Strelok. Game 1 on Tal Dareem Altar, really short game. Elfi, I guess, playing a little bit of a mind game, and now was able to open up with a 4-gate and put a lot of pressure on Strelok, as Strelok, I believe, just wasn't expecting it. He tried to go for a Reactor Hellion opening, and Stalkers just absolutely destroy Hellions, as we have all seen a number of times. You can now see a probe making his way out, and he will be able to scout in the correct direction once more, so we will see how that's going to work out. Now just going to go ahead and scout out to the 12 o'clock position. Strelok will be once again forced to deal with a lot of barracks harassment from this one particular probe. Why can't an SCV perhaps build the barracks without exposing himself to the back? Doesn't really make that much sense to me, but then again, we'll see what's going to be happening here as the probe now comes in and deals some damage to this poor SCV who's trying to just do his work. Elfi, however, able to run around with this probe and will naturally be able to recharge some shields while pulling one SCV off the mineral line and giving him a nice small but significant economic advantage this early in the game. This one probe, however, now going to perhaps be getting a little bit more damage. No, going to be turning around and trying to win a war against this one particular SCV. SCV down to 20 hit points as Elfi's probe down to 15. But that's nothing 20 seconds of shield regeneration will not handle. We're now going to see, yes, it looks like Strelok is going to be scouting out in the counterclockwise direction, and he will be able to find out what his opponent is doing rather quickly. Elfi once again coming back once more to try to win out on this fight. You can see that this one SCV down to 25 hit points compared to the probe's 15, and now a front door supply depot has been added. SCV now coming in will quickly spot the gateway, the pylon, a cybernetics core, and a second assimilator being added. He really needs to look around for that additional pylon. The pylon on the far side over here, perhaps a Stargate could be added, as this SCV most likely is really hunting for that additional pylon. He knows that his opponent has that pylon somewhere, and he really wants to know where it is. Otherwise, he needs to search and scour the map for a lot of hidden tech. And it looks like Strelok will be doing exactly that, perhaps trying to hide or look down over here to see if there is any proxy Stargates, or perhaps a proxy Stargate over here as well. It's just going to be based upon timing. And as this game now moves into the mid-game, as both players are not yet trying to establish expansions. You can see currently a pylon now warping in down over here by the front door, a very nice position, ensuring that you can warp onto the low ground and reinforce while still being fairly safe and fairly defensive, making sure that this pylon doesn't get destroyed. Strelok now also establishing a command center at the natural expansion, and he will be forced to try to fend off all of these marauders, all of these stalkers and probes with marauders and marines. A Reaper is being added as well, so two marauders, a marine, and an SCV are going to be walking into the Protoss base and perhaps trying to prevent Elfi from really being able to do all too much. Sentries and 3 gateways now being built, so this is going to be a 3-gate, most likely a 3-gate expand is what Elfi was looking to do, but it doesn't look like he'll be able to do that just quite yet, as an SCV now going to try to walk up the ramp, and is it going to be enough? He does spot those sentries there and now decides to walk all the way back. The stalkers do take a little bit of slowness damage, or do get slowed down there, as the marauders and marine and SCV decide to back off, knowing that it's really not quite worth it to try to push out just quite yet. Bunker now going to be established back over here, so it looks like Strelok is going to have the economic advantage moving into the mid-game, as a Reaper now jumping straight inside the base. Strelok now going to be able to get off a lot of scouting information, and this is exactly what he needed, really be able to get off one probe at least, and he is able to, after seeing that there are 3 gateways on the inside. Bunker, a second bunker now being added as well, hoping to be able to fend off this attack. He opened up with a 2 racks into a 3 racks build, and I really like this opening, especially against a very heavy aggressive Protoss player. If you know your opponent has a lot of gateways, get the barracks, get reactors, get tech labs, and use stim when those Marauders and Marines are still inside that bunker, effectively increasing your DPS by 50% while not really taking any true damage, as those bunkers are really your weakest point, and the SCVs are now coming over. Perhaps some auto repair on all of these SCVs would work out well, as all the SCVs would just constantly be repairing each other. One Marine perhaps should be jumping out of this location as well and then swapping it with the Marauders, but 3 Marauders, 4 Marauders on the front door, 6 Marines, more than enough to handle, and there are no destructible rocks here to lead into the low ground expansion. The Nexus about to be completed by Elfi, and now 31 probes versus 26 SCVs, but there are 2 mules in play, and Strelok should be able to transition into this mid-game very easily. He needs to get more supply depots though, now sitting at 49 over 54. And he will, I believe, be once again supply blocked in just a matter of seconds, as he also needs to go into his factory. Combat shield now being researched. We are getting the level 1 weapons upgrade. So level 1 weapons upgrade with combat shield, those Marines and those Marauders will be much more difficult to deal with, as also an observer being thrown into the air in order to keep track of his opponent. Elfi is also going into a robotics bay, and we should be seeing Colossi in just a little bit of time. Marauders, Marines are all back over here. You can see Stalkers and Sentries are over here as well. So Elfi looking to be in a very dominant situation. He has more probes. He has more probes by 9 right now, but he does have a little bit of a smaller army in terms of minerals, but then again much larger in terms of gas. So Elfi just simply one step ahead of Strelok in every step, and it's really going to come down to whether or not Strelok can do enough harassment damage, either with drops or perhaps even with or just Hellions or something to really slow down Elfi. Elfi right now is sitting very comfortable. It feels like he knows that he has a slight advantage over his opponent, especially with that harvester count 46 compared to 36. Total harvester 1380 versus 1200, and now we are salvaging some of those bunkers as the units are on the move. The probe now trying to run away. It looks like the Marine may be able to perhaps catch up to it. Needs one more shot. There it goes. And now the Marines and the Marauders are all on the front door, ready for the pounce and ready for the attack. There is one Colossus in position. That SCV quickly gets swiped down. And now the Marauders and the Marines are going to perhaps do a little bit of a split here. Stalkers are engaging, and there are the force fields. This is not the best engagement. Only one Colossus, though, as the Marines and the Marauders are quickly falling. You can see the Marauders are on the backside trying to continue this push once again. The Colossus has not taken any serious damage at all. And the minimap pretty much tells how bad of a situation Strelok is currently in. The Stalkers and Colossus able to fend off that attack very easily. And now it is, 1475 resources lost versus 1284. As now we can see that Strelok sitting at 41 harvesters compared to 52. So this is still not looking good. Strelok really taking an advantage, or tried to take advantage of his superior army, but a couple of force fields preventing that stutter step. And now that Elfi has 2 Colossi, soon to be 3, I believe the DPS from the Colossus is just going to be way too much. Strelok now going into Metavacs and some Vikings as well. We are going into 4 racks, 3 of them with tech labs, 1 with a reactor, with the 5th barracks now being added as well. There is 1 observer off over here. You can see the command center is being built. It does have 6 mineral patches and a rich Vespine geyser. So this is a very generous 3rd base, especially since there are no destructible rocks leading to it, and we'll see what Elfi is going to do. Elfi, he really needs to be perfect with this engagement. He doesn't have really that superior of an army. No weapons upgrade. Meanwhile, the Marauders have 1 upgrades, and that may be the damaging factor here, as the Marauders and the Marines are going to perhaps try a bit of a push. Are they going to be able to engage in time? The Marauders now going to try to push in and now pull back. You can see 3 Colossi. Marauders and Marines are going to push in. Where are those force fields? No sentries. And Elfi may be in a bit of trouble here if those Colossi are not able to run away. No sentries, meaning that he couldn't just split up that army, as now the Colossi, Zealots are both sides are trying to engage even further. Where are the Vikings, though? I don't see a Viking anywhere, as 2 Vikings are finally being trained up to join this army. A little bit late, but it may be enough, as bunkers are now being re-established. This, Strelok now finishing up a command center over here, upgrading to an orbital command, could be in the not-so-distant future. calling in some mules as well, as really Strelok needs to fight off this attack. Bunkers are not going to be completed in time. Marauders, Marines, SCVs coming off the mineral line isn't going to be enough. SCVs are absorbing some amount of damage, but the Marauders are now going after the Zealots and now continuing this push. It looks as though another Stalker will get destroyed. SCVs continuing the hunt, continuing the chase, and it looks like one Colossus does get taken down. And now only one Colossus left in the forward position of this battlefield. Elfi, sitting on almost a non-existent army, just seemed to miscalculate his opponent, especially since he didn't have any sentries in that battle the first time. There are currently 2 medevacs in this group. Perhaps more Vikings going to be added as well. So currently sitting on 2 Vikings, a fresh medevac coming in. SCVs perhaps could be on auto repair. More Marauders and Marines. We are going into a Twilight Council and another Colossus. So we will soon have 3 Colossi once again by Elfi. But Elfi is still slightly behind in terms of his army, and overall 20 food count difference. That is even more drastic when you figure out that Elfi has a 16 food count advantage in terms of his harvester count, so that army advantage is just really making a very large difference. The Marauders and the Marines look to perhaps execute a drop, attacking at the front and the back at the same time. The Marauders are going to be pushing in. Medevacs are in position as well, and we'll see what these Colossi are simply going to try to do. 3 Colossi. Where are those medevacs? The medevacs coming in on the high ground. Scanner sweep saw that there are stalkers over here, and now perhaps going to elevator his way into this game. And now a front door showing a lot of Colossi as well. The backdoor rocks are not there, so we'll see what's going to happen here as the Vikings, perhaps overexpose themselves just a little bit, and there is no drop, no main drop now happening off over here. Going to perhaps try to take down the robotics facility, and now the robotics facility will get destroyed. Now going after some of the Colossi. One Colossus does get taken down. Vikings are now trying to push in, and Marauders pushing in from the low ground as well. Stalkers are getting destroyed. Stalkers now going after medevacs, but the Marauders going to be able to finish off a lot of these units here as they are continuing to drop up on the high ground. Only 1 Colossus left, and Elfi, I believe this time, will be losing to Strelok. Strelok executed extremely well, and there is the GG by Elfi. So Strelok able to take a game in the win column, now trailing 2-1 against Acer. Strelok finally able to take a win, and now 2-1 in favor of Elfi. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 3 in the series between Elfi and Strelok.